This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, dear students, in the last session, we have discussed about random variable and definition of the random variable, how to define the random variable, and what are the conditions for the function to be a random variable, and various examples to represent the random variable. And also, we have discussed about probability mass function and cumulative distribution function, right? So the definition for the cumulative distribution function is capital Fx of x is equal to probability of capital X less than or equal to small x, and where that capital X represents the random variable and the small x represent the elements of the random variable, right? And now I'm going to discuss about the properties of distribution function. And coming to the properties, first property, fx of minus infinity is equal to 0. That is, along the x-axis, if I take the elements of the random variable, then the minimum value becomes minus infinity, and the fx of minus infinity always will be equal to 0, because always fx of minus infinity is equal to probability of x less than or equal to minus infinity. So what do you mean by the probability of x less than or equal to minus infinity? That is no sample space. If there is no sample space, and ultimately the probability will be absolutely equal to 0. Therefore, fx of minus infinity is equal to 0. And coming to the second property, the second property is fx of plus infinity is 1. What do you mean by plus infinity? That is the maximum value of the distribution function is equal to 1. The maximum value nothing but plus infinity. And why? Because fx of plus infinity is nothing but probability of x less than or equal to plus infinity. So as per the definition of the random variable, the probability of x less than or equal to plus infinity can be represented as all the element probabilities or individual probabilities of x equal to 1, 2, 3, and so on until you reach plus infinity. That is, the probability of x less than or equal to plus infinity is equal to the sum of all the individual elementary probabilities. So therefore here the total sample space will come into the picture. It becomes the probability of total sample space, and we all know that the probability of total sample space is absolutely equal to 1. Therefore, fx of plus infinity is absolutely equal to 1. So fx of minus infinity is 0, fx of plus infinity is 1, right? These are the two basic properties of the cumulative distribution function. And the third property is always fx of x1 will be less than or equal to fx of x2 if x1 is less than x2. That is, if I have a random variable x which is represented along the x-axis, if I take any 2 points, let me take x1 and x2 represented along the horizontal axis, where x1 is less than x2. In such a scenario, if I take the distribution function of x1 or at x equal to x1 and distribution function at x equal to x2, the relation between these two is fx of x1 less than or equal to fx of x2. So it is nothing but representing like the CDF or cumulative distribution function is always monotonically increasing function. So here the distribution function is monotonically increasing function, and we can prove this property like this. Here, if I consider the two events, one is x less than or equal to x1, other one is x less than or equal to x2. So ultimately here, the probability of x less than or equal to x1 will be less than the probability of x less than or equal to x2. Therefore, the distribution function fx of x1 always less than or equal to fx of x2. And coming to the fourth property, always fx of x lies between 0 and 1. As I said in the very first property, at the minimum value of the random variable, that is x equal to minus infinity, the distribution function is equal to 0. And at the maximum value of the random variable, that is at x equal to plus infinity, the distribution function value equal to 1, and therefore it cannot go less than 0, it cannot go beyond 1. Therefore the distribution function will always be in between 0 and 1. And here, why? Because the minimum value of fx of x is 0, and probability of x less than or equal to x minimum value is 0. Similarly, fx of x equal to 1. Why? Because at the maximum value, the probability value or the distribution function will become the probability of the total sampling space or sample space, right? Or it becomes sum of all probabilities within a sample space, right? So that is the fourth property. And coming to the fifth property, the fifth property is if you have the distribution function, for example, an experiment is done, one real-time experiment is done. From the real-time experiment, one random variable is defined, and after defining the random variable, if at all if the distribution function is also defined, then by using the distribution function we can find any number of probabilities and any type of probabilities that related to the random variable, or I can say the property as probability of x1 less than x less than or equal to x2 is equal to fx of x2 minus fx of x1. Why? Because x1 is always less than x2. Therefore, the property is probability of the x1 less than x less than or equal to x2. In between x1 and x2, the probability can be represented as fx of x2 minus fx of x1. We can also prove this property. How do you prove? And we know that, for example, let us assume two events. One event is x less than or equal to x1. Another event has capital X in between x1 and x2. That is x1 less than x less than or equal to x2. So ultimately, one is, let me take 2 points, x1, x2. X is less than or equal to x1 becomes this side, and in between x1 and x2 in the sense in between these 2 points. Therefore, these two events will be mutually exclusive events, right? And at the same time, if I take here x1, x2, if I take x less than or equal to x2, this particular x less than or equal to x2 will be the sum of these two mutually exclusive events, that is x less than or equal to x1 and x1 less than x less than or equal to x2. So like this, that is sum of two mutually exclusive events. And therefore, if I apply the probability on both the sides, how can I write the relation again? The probability of x less than or equal to x2 is equal to sum of two probabilities. One is probability of x less than or equal to x1, and in between these two, the probability is going to be considered. That is P of x1 less than x less than or equal to x2, right? So in this way, we can write the relation between the probabilities. So therefore, we can write, we all know that as per the definition of the distribution function, P of x less than or equal to x2 becomes f of x of x2, and P of x less than or equal to x1 becomes fx of x1, and the probability of x1 less than x less than or equal to x2 will be as it is. So therefore, if I simplify this expression, I can get the relation, that is P of x1 less than x less than or equal to x2 is equal to fx of x2 minus fx of x1, and that is the fifth property of cumulative distribution function. And sixth property, the sixth property is fx of x plus always equal to fx of x. What do you mean by x plus? For example, I have the random variable capital X, and elements of the random variable are, let me take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That example may be rolling a die experiment, and in the rolling a die experiment, I am defining the random variable in such a way that capital X equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in that case, fx of x plus means, I can say simply an example, fx of 1 plus or fx of 2 plus, fx of 3 plus. Especially in the discrete random variable case, is there any value in between 1 and 2 or 2 and 3 or 3 and 4? No. Therefore, as there is no value is existing in the random variable in between the discrete values, we can define the distribution function in between these two by taking the sixth property. That is, how do you take fx of 1 plus is equal to fx of 1, in the sense the value in between 1 and 2 will retain the same value which is assigned at x equal to 1. Similarly, the value in between 2 and 3, which value? The value of the distribution function for the elements of the random variable in between 2 and 3 is absolutely equal to, or it retains the same value assigned to x equal to 2. That is, therefore, we can say that the function is continuous on the right, and there is no discontinuity in between 1 and 2. The random variable may be discrete. The random variable may be discrete, but the distribution function will not be discrete. Always the distribution function will be continuous function, and at the same time it is continuous on the right. That is, the fx of x plus becomes the previous value fx of x only, and by retaining the previous value, it continues in the case of discrete random variables. Right? And coming to the seventh property, probability of x greater than x is absolutely equal to 1 minus fx of x. So far we have taken probabilities like p of x less than or equal to x. If at all, if I say probability of x greater than x, for example, if I take, what is the, I know the probabilities, like the probability of getting 1 when a die is rolled, or the probability of getting 2 when the die is rolled. If I say simply what is the probability that getting a number greater than 3 on a die. So in such a scenario, I am supposed to find P of x greater than 3. So in such a case, I can use this relation, that is P of x greater than x is equal to 1 minus fx of x, right? So that is, I can prove in this way. First, let us define two events. One is x less than or equal to x and x greater than x. So as I said, one event may be in the rolling a die experiment x less than or equal to 3, and the other event may be x greater than 3. And of course, these two are mutually exclusive. Why? Because in the event x less than or equal to 3, I have only the element values, that is 1, 2, 3. Whereas in the other event, that is x greater than x, that event will have how many elements other than these three? 4, 5, 6, right? So therefore these two are mutually exclusive, right? And now I can take it as combination of these two becomes the entire sample space. Now by applying the probability, I can write it as P of x less than or equal to x plus P of x greater than x. P of x less than or equal to x, P of x greater than x is absolutely equal to the probability of entire sample space, which is absolutely equal to 1. Therefore, I can take the relation like this. Probability of x greater than x is equal to 1 minus P of x less than or equal to x, by right? And we all know that P of x less than or equal to x is nothing but fx of x. So in this way, we can prove the property, that is P of x greater than x is equal to 1 minus fx of x. So here total how many properties we have for the continuous for the cumulative distribution function? Total 7 properties. Let me repeat the 7 properties. So first property is fx of minus infinity equal to 0. Second property, fx of plus infinity equal to 1. Third property, fx of x1 is less than or equal to fx of x2 if x1 is less than x2. That is the third property. Fourth property, always fx of x lies between 0 and 1. That is 0 less than or equal to fx of x less than or equal to 1. What is the fifth property? Always the probability can be calculated by using the distribution function, that is P of x1 less than x less than or equal to x2 equal to fx of x2 minus fx of x1. And what is the sixth property? What is the sixth property? Fx of x plus is equal to fx of x, that is a function is continuous on the right. And similarly here, what is the seventh property? P of x greater than x is equal to 1 minus fx of x. And these properties will play a major role in the analysis of any experiment in the real time. And we can take a simple note here, and the properties 1, 2 and 4 and even 6 may be used as tests to determine if a given function could be a valid distribution function. And here you can have n different type of functions, representations, and all the functions cannot be cumulative distribution function and need not be cumulative distribution functions. And we need to check whether the given function is a cumulative distribution function or not. And for that also, we can use these properties. First property, second property, fourth property, and the sixth property. The first one is minimum value is 0. Second one is maximum value is 1. The fourth property is monotonically increasing, and the sixth property is always continuous on the right. By using all these, you can decide whether the given function is cumulative distribution function or not. Right? Am I clear? Right. And some relations you can take here, and sometimes you may need to find the probabilities by using this particular cumulative distribution function, and for that you need to remember some relations, and especially in between continuous random variable and discrete random variable there is a small difference in the calculation of probabilities. For example, if I take a continuous random variable, if I would like to find the probability of x1 less than x less than x2, that is in between x1 and x2, and that is absolutely equal to x1 less than or equal to x less than x2. That is here in the second one, x1 is also included, and the third one, x1 x2 both are included. Probability of x1 less than or equal to x less than or equal to x2. In the last one, only x2 is included. x1 less than x less than or equal to x2. For the continuous random variable, even if you include the x1 and x2, or if any one value is included, or if no value is included, all the probabilities are absolutely equal. That is valid only if the random variable is continuous random variable. And similarly, if the random variable is discrete, then it is different. That is, if it is discrete, if probability of x1 less than x less than or equal to x2, here x2 is included. So therefore, what I can write here, fx of x2 minus fx of x1, fx of x1. And if I include 2, probability of x1 less than or equal to x less than or equal to x2, then you should be cautious. That is, we have to add even the probability of x equal to x1. Just observe the difference between 1 and 2. In the first case, if at all, if I need to find probability of x1 less than x less than or equal to x2, simply it is equal to fx of x2 minus fx of x1. Whereas in the second case, p of x1 less than or equal to x less than or equal to x2, you need to add p of x equal to x1 here. For example, if I take p of x1 less than or equal to x less than x2, that is, you are including x1 but excluding x2. But in that case, here you need to add p of x equal to x1, but you need to subtract the probability of x equal to x2 from the result. From the above result, from the second one, we are able to find the probability by adding the p of x equal to x1. But in the third case, along with the addition, you need to subtract the probability, that is p of x equal to x2. Right? Just observe the difference between 1, 2, and 3. And coming to the fourth one, here in this case, both are not included. Right? In that case, here fx of x2 minus fx of x1 from the first one, first property you can take. But here, as x2 is excluded, you need to subtract the probability at x equal to x2. P of x equal to x2. Just remember the four relations, especially in the case of discrete random variable. While calculating the probabilities, here we need to observe these differences in the case of discrete random variable. Right? Let me take a problem. What is the problem here? The cumulative distribution function for the random variable x is given by a functional representation is given, and the functional representation is what? F of x equal to, and in fact fx of x in the short form, f can be written in the form of f of x. The short form for fx of x is f of x. Cumulative distribution function can be denoted as capital F suffix capital X of small x. Capital F is CDF and its suffix is random variable, and inside the parenthesis whatever the element you have that represents the elements of the random variable, right? So here in the short form you can write f of x. What is that of random cumulative distribution function given here? F of x equal to 0 when x is less than 0, and f of x equal to 1 by 32 into 6x square minus x cube in the interval 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 4 and equal to 1 when x greater than 4. So it is the given data. And what are you supposed to find here? Calculate p of 2 less than x less than 3, right? So first of all, which type of random variable here? Is it a continuous random variable or discrete random variable? What are the limits for elements? Small x limits, x less than 0 is one limit, in between 0 and 4 is one limit, x greater than 4 is one limit. So if you observe the limitation for x or limits of x, what do you say? Is it a continuous random variable or discrete random variable? Yes, continuous random variable. So what are you supposed to find here? P of 2 less than x less than 3. Since x is continuous random variable, you need not worry about the limits, right? As we have discussed in the previous slide, for the continuous random variable, all the probabilities are equal, like p of 2 less than x less than 3, where 2 and 3 are excluded. Or even if you need to find the probability by including both or by including anyone, all the probabilities are equal. So no need to worry. Can you do it? Just pause the video just for a while and try to solve the problem, right? So what is the given data? F of x is given. What are you supposed to find? Probability value need to be calculated. So which one helps you here? Ultimately the property of cumulative distribution function, right? Try to solve. Right, the solution for the previous problem. The cumulative distribution function is given. You are supposed to find p of 2 less than x less than 3, which is equal to f of 3 minus f of 2, right? So f of 3 is taken from the limit 0 to 4, and f of 2 is also taken from the limit 0 to 4, and by substituting x equal to 3 and x equal to 2, you will get the resultant as 11 by 32, right? Next, another parameter I am going to discuss, another important thing I am going to discuss in the random variables is probability density function. So as I said, if any experiment is done, if there is any uncertainty in the outcomes, usually we are going to take all the outcomes and we are going to define the random variable, and to analyze the problem we need to define either cumulative distribution function or probability density function. In other case, if at all, if you are given the cumulative distribution function or probability density function of any random variable which is taken by conducting an experiment, you can analyze such experiment. Right? So what do you mean by probability density function? In short form, you can call it as PDF, probability density function, or PDF. right? So here the derivative of probability distribution function or cumulative distribution function fx of x is called the probability density function of the random variable x, right? So that is, if I draw or if I represent graphically the distribution function fx of x is represented graphically, then if I find the derivative of it, then it becomes the graphical representation of fx of x. Or if I represent capital Fx of x in the functional representation, if I find the differentiation of that fx of x, then that becomes probability density function. Here, the basic difference between these two is the distribution function, the cumulative distribution function will give the cumulative addition of all the probabilities. Anyway, in any experiment, the maximum probability is 1, right? So that is, the cumulative distribution function will give or sum of cumulative addition of all the probabilities until you reach 1, right? So here, if I find the differentiation, it gives the change in the probability values. Therefore, the probability density function will give the probability values. I repeat, cumulative distribution function will give the cumulative addition of probabilities, whereas probability density function will give the values of the probabilities. And it can be represented like this: fx of x is equal to differentiation of r d by dx of capital fx of x, right? And pictorially you can represent like this. So that is, if at all, if f of x is capital F of x is, our cumulative distribution function is like this, so it is cumulative distribution function, then ultimately the differentiation of the above function is small f of x, and which can be taken like this. So if you observe here, the constant slope you have, that is constant slope you have, the change is constant from 0 to t. Therefore, a constant value is occurred in the small f of x. Whereas after t, there is no change in the distribution function. Therefore, the change is equal to 0, in the sense the density function value equal to 0. Here in the distribution function, we have a discontinuity at t, right? And the discontinuity is reflected in the density function, right? That is discontinuity point. Fx of x is often called just the density function of the random variable. We can call either probability density function, or even we can also call it as just density function of the random variable, right? And simple example are to explain about the density function. In a company, I am taking the data of female candidates' height. Height of the female candidates is defined as a random variable, and the random variable is taken as having the values ranging from 140 centimeters to 190 centimeters. The heights of the female candidates is equal to 140 to 190 centimeters, right? So here the probabilities are represented using probability density function like this. And by taking the probability density function, you can find the probabilities. And here, if you observe, the elements are continuous values. Therefore, you can find even the values like decimal values. You can take these type of decimal values into the consideration. So what do you mean by this? By using this, what we can do? What do you mean by this? That is, at this particular value, x equal to 165, the value assigned is 0.04. What do you mean by this? At 165 value, 0.04 is assigned. What do you mean by this? That is, this particular density function is giving some information about the probability. That is, out of all the female candidates, what do you mean by this 0.04? That is, the probability is for 4% chance for having 165 centimeters height. That is the meaning of this, right? So that is the way to represent the probability density function. If at all, if the random variable is discrete, if the random variable is discrete, in the previous session we have seen for the random variable, for the discrete random variable, how to represent cumulative distribution function. And the cumulative distribution function can be represented by using unit step functions in the case of discrete random variable. And now here also, for the discrete random variable, you can represent the density function like this: summation I equal to 1 to n probability of x equal to xi into del of x minus xi. We read this particular symbol as del, del of x minus xi, or in the short form you can write like this: summation I equal to 1 to n p of xi into del of x minus xi. What is del? The delta function is called unit impulse function. A small correction here, it is unit impulse function. The del of x is unit impulse function and is defined by del of x equal to 1 when x equal to 0 and equal to 0 when x is not equal to 0. That is, the del function exists only at x equal to 0. Del of x minus xi in the sense, del of x minus xi in the sense, the del function is shifted by xi. That is, the del function shifted by xi in the sense, del of x minus xi exists only at x equal to xi. If I say xi equal to 1, del of x minus 1, that del function exists only at x equal to 1, and the value of particular del function is absolutely equal to 1. So therefore, del of x minus 1 in the sense, del of x minus 1 is equal to 1 when x equal to 1, right? So in this way, we represent the density function. And what is n? N may be infinite for some random variables. If at all, if similar, so like rolling a die experiment and limited number of elements. If I take infinite, that is tossing a coin for 1000 times or 10,000 times, then ultimately here the elements of the random variable may be infinite, right? That is all about probability density function. And unit, there is a small relation between unit step function and unit impulse function. As I said, del of x is called unit impulse, u of x is called unit step. Therefore, the relation can be taken like this: del of x equal to d by dx of u of x. So usually this relation is used while deriving distribution function from the density function or density function from the distribution function, right? So in both the cases, we can use this particular relation for the discrete random variable case, right? And we do have the properties for probability density function, and the probability density function properties can be: first property, always the density function fx of x is a non-negative function. Always it is non-negative for all x, right? That is the first property. Second property is what? Always the total area under the density function. What do you mean by integration minus infinity to plus infinity f of x? That is, the total area under the density function always will be equal to 1. That is, it will have unit area, and graphically you can represent like this. For example, if I have the density function like this, and this example, why I'm drawing like this, the similar type of example we have taken in the previous slide. That is the random variable is considered as heights of female candidates in a company, and by considering the random variable as heights of female candidates in a company, the density function is represented, and by using the density function you can find the probabilities, like what is the probability of female candidates having the height equal to 165 centimeters. And there we have taken an example, and there in the graph we have seen already, that is 0.04, 4% chance for having 165 centimeters height, right? So here, in any way, if I draw the PDF like this, the total area absolutely equal to 1, right? And third, and we can also prove this. How do you prove this? We can also prove this. That is, and for example, if I take fx of x, and if I take apply the integration from minus infinity to y, and you can write like this: integral minus infinity to y fx of x dx equal to. So we all know the relation between fx of x, small fx of x, and capital Fx of x. So therefore, how can I write the relation here? If I integrate the density function, I should get the distribution function. Therefore, I am integrating the density function, and which can be represented in the by using the distribution function, which is equal to fx of y minus fx of minus infinity. If I take the limits from minus infinity to y, what is fx of y? We all know that minus infinity to y, small fx of x dx. Why? Because fx of minus infinity is 0 from the property of CDF, right? Why? Because the minimum value of the distribution function is 0. So therefore, finally what I can write, fx of y equal to integral minus infinity to y, small fx of x dx. So at y equal to infinity, fx of infinity is what? 1. So therefore, if I substitute y equal to infinity in this particular equation, fx of infinity equal to integral minus infinity to plus infinity fx of x dx. So therefore, capital Fx of infinity equal to integral minus infinity to plus infinity small fx of x dx equal to 1. That is the proof for second property, that is the total area under the density function is absolutely equal to 1, right? Second property. What is the third property? Third property is, here if you know the density function, you can derive the distribution function. Why? Because the distribution function, if at all, if you know the distribution function, you know how to find the density function, as you know that small fx of x, that is PDF of the random variable x, is equal to differentiation, that is d by dx of capital Fx of x, that is cumulative distribution function of random variable x, right? So therefore, by from that relation, I can also take the relation for capital Fx of x in terms of small fx of x, that is integral minus infinity to x, temporary variable is considered here, fx of chi d chi, right? So this is the way to find distribution function from the density function, and any part can be taken from that. You can find the differentiation. I mean, you can find the cumulative distribution function, that is integration, right? And if you know the density function, you can also find the probabilities. That is, if you know the distribution function, you can find the probability which is required. If you know the density function, You can also find the probabilities which is required. And here, what is the relation we can do? Take here P of x1 less than or equal to x less than or equal to x2 is integral x1 to x2 fx of x dx, right? So this is the pictorial representation for the property, right? So here, how do you prove this? Same as your previous proof. That is, here we all know that P of x1 less than x less than or equal to x2 is fx of x2 minus fx of x1 from the properties of CDF. We all know that. Am I right? Now, fx of x2 is what? Just now we have seen integral minus infinity to x2 fx of x dx. Fx of x1 is integral minus infinity to x1 fx of x dx. Therefore, if I take the two equations and if I combine, I can get like this. Fx of x2 minus fx of x1 is the difference of the two integrations, and the final expression can be integral x1 to x2 fx of x dx, right? So that is what you can write. Probability of x1 less than less than or equal to x2 is integral x1 to x2 fx of x dx. Am I clear? Right? So four properties are discussed under PDF. So what are the four properties? The first property is always the density function is non-negative function. Second property is the area under the density function is 1. Third property is the distribution function can be derived from the density function by taking the integration. Fourth property is we can find the probability by taking the density function, right? So here you can take a small note, that is, and here properties 1 and 2. What is the first property? Non-negative function. Second property, total area under the function is 1. By using these two properties, you can test whether the given function is a valid density function or not. Why? Because all the functions cannot be density functions, right? And you can derive the CDF from PDF. Let us take a problem, right? So we all know that. So here, pictorial I can show how do you derive it. And third property is explained. You may have some confusion. How do you derive the distribution function from the density function, right? So pictorial representation is given here. That is P of x less than or equal to x naught in the sense minus infinity to x naught f of x dx. That is the shaded form, orange shaded form represent f of x naught. And what is this? Can you guess what is the shaded form? It is density function. And what is the shaded form in terms of distribution function? Can anybody guess? If at all, if this particular curve is representing the density function, what is this particular part in terms of distribution function? How do you convert this particular part of the density function into the distribution function, right? That is P of 2 less than x less than 3, and we know how to write P of 2 less than x less than 3 in terms of capital F of x, that is fx of 3 minus fx of 2, right? So this is the way to represent. And problem, in the die experiment, if the die is fair and the chance of getting is equally probable, then draw its CDF and PDF. CDF and PDF. Can you try? Simple, throwing a die experiment, a fair die, and no biasing, and equal probability for all the outcomes. Can you draw the CDF and PDF? What is the first step you need to take for drawing the CDF or PDF? First, you need to take or define the random variable for the experiment, right? After defining the random variable, you need to draw the distribution and density function. So these are the distribution and density functions for the problem given. Already this problem is discussed, in fact, right? The only difference is here, if you observe, the distribution function is having unit step functions. The density function is having unit impulse functions. Am I clear? Right? Let us try. Let us take another problem. PDF is given. Probability density function for the random variable x is given by small f of x equal to 1 by 4x and in the interval 0 to 2. 1 by 4 into 4 minus x in the interval 2 to 4 and equal to 0 otherwise. Find capital F of x naught. First, is the random variable continuous or discrete? Given random variable capital X, yes, the limits are 0 to 2, 2 to 4. Therefore, X is continuous. We are supposed to find general value f of x naught. How do you do? Just pause the video and try. Solution for this like this. We know f of x, that is the given. If I plot that f of x, this is the graphical representation for f of x. For better understanding, I am taking graphical representation. You are supposed to find what? Capital F of x naught. That is, what do you mean by capital F of x naught? Capital F of x naught, that particular shaded area. If at all, if x naught is taken less than 2, in between 0 and 2, I can take the representation like this: half into base into height. Height is 1 by 4 x naught, as x naught is less than 2, greater than 0, in between 0 and 2. In the second case, if at all, if x naught is in between 2 and 4, in between 2 and 4, how do you take? That is, here reverse way you can take. A reverse way, that is, how do you take in the reverse way? This particular yellow shaded region must be calculated, right? If x naught is in between 0 and 2, previous one, in between 2 and 4, this shaded area. If it is known, ultimately you can find this one. Therefore, total is 1. 1 minus this yellow area. Yellow area is half into base into height. What is the base? 4 minus x naught is base. Height is what? In this particular region, if I substitute x equal to x naught, 1 by 4 into 4 minus x naught. Right? So therefore, the area equal to 1 minus 1 by 8 into 4 minus x naught square. Therefore, in two conditions, we got the value. 1 by 8 x naught square in the interval 0 to 2 and 1 minus expression in the interval 2 to 4, and we all know that maximum is 1 and minimum is 0, right? So we'll continue in the next class with the next problem and try to take this problem and try to solve by at least by the next class, try to show the answer. What is the question? A random variable x has probabilities shown in the table. Find the value of k and also find capital Fx of x, that is distribution function, small fx of x, that is density function, and draw their plots. So what is the table given? Random variable elements are -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Probabilities are 0.2, 0.5k, k, 0.1, 0.3k, k. Right? Thank you. We'll continue the next class.